Hi, and welcome back to the Dave Emmons Show. And we have another half an hour to go. And we are syndicating with WDY Radio, and that's in Maryland. And that's Eddie Carson's a good buddy of mine there, and he's a nice guy. So he's going to have that audio portion that he's going to put out on the social media. We will be putting out the video portion of this show, and that's OdysseyRadioLive.com. And this is Dave Emmons Show, and Tom Althouse will probably be doing some co-hosting with me in the future. He's really got some smarts, and he's got a lot of knowledge of what's going on because he's been there. He's been burnt by all this cabal and all this deep state stuff through Hollywood. Believe it or not, Hollywood's a main part of all this deep state stuff. So, Tom, you wanted to get into the other factions like Tucker Carlson and things of that nature.
That's right. I wanted to put a word out to Tucker too. I mean, a lot of these things are reviewed and seen and passed on. So for Tucker, just to know that he is on that list, and just to be aware, to be prepared that that list of searches and things like that and harassment, he's on it. In fact, I was informed that he's like #1 after Trump. So basically, those that are actually putting word out there and getting good word out there are on a list, and that's why terminal list is the big popular thing right now. Hollywood wants to feel clever, Hollywood elements. And so they actually lay out there ahead of time. They want to lay out ahead of time that, they know what's coming. They actually did it in Matrix. They did it in Matrix. In the graphic that has my high school, my birthday, my dad's name, my name, my high school, wow. And TA 4099 in the column, which TA was 4099 when it was put out. That was followed by the next page that ripped open with 9/11 on it. They want to brag about knowing what's coming. And so the same thing with Terminal List. Terminal List is out with a main character, like I said, from my screenplay. Jim Reese is the main character. Right. Terminal List, what's going on right now? Trump was on a list. Tucker's on a list. I'm on a list. Alex Jones was on a list. Now, be it shady or not on any character, if you're on the list, and Pat Robertson's organization in Virginia Beach, Virginia, where Flint just did this tour thing, right from there first, they say they have a list. So now they're acting on that list, which means we are at a crucial point in history, a crucial time point across.
Yes, we are. Yes.
They do not want their heads revealed or hands dirty, being seen for what they are. So that's what's unnerving them, is the interviews. And their contacts say they're very concerned about interviews such as these. It doesn't matter how many views you had. Even in Game of Thrones, they'll spell it out. They like to brag, Hollywood, that even just 10 people hearing it means it is a story, means it is a movement. So what happens is they're very concerned. And that's why they do shadow banning and things like this, to make it look like the numbers don't exist, that you don't have any views. But actually, they're afraid of Bob's grandma hearing it.
Well, the news media is complicit in all this stuff with the deep state. And you got CNN, you got the View, and all these people that are crazy. They get on there and they talk some crazy stuff. They talk about the right being crazy. And now they're trying to say they're warning everybody across the country there's going to be violence because now the far right hoodlums, they're calling us, or the deplorables, are going to start violence and things of this nature. Well, one violent thing did happen, but I'm glad he wasn't successful. We're not for that. But what about Hannity? And what about these other people? I heard Newsmax. There's a guy that was on Newsmax last night. He's always saying he's trying to go down the middle of the road. But guess what he did? He went after Jesse Waters for being so verbal and so, demanding action.
You've got people that are plants inside all the different organizations and actually different medias. And so they are supposed to act when called upon. Often they'll act like your friend, they'll act like somebody's on your side, and then they spring the leak. Right. Brian Fitzpatrick, actually, as an example, Brian Fitzpatrick was the one Republican, along with the New York Republican, that voted to remove our rights to have certain weapons to protect ourselves. That's something I've been talking about in interviews too, is that's what they're going to do. They're going to take away our rights that our founding fathers gave us to protect our homes. And that they do want that. The FBI is comprised of a lot of people at the top that are cowards. They don't want to have anything. They want to win the game where they are facing tremendous odds in their favor. They don't want to take a chance that they could suffer anything.
Okay. So I want to ask you your opinion on the IRS, that they're going to hire 87,000 people and they're going to be armed. Well,
IRS shouldn't even exist.
They've been buying ammo and guns for the last 3 or 4 years. and they're preparing for this. They're all going to be highly armed. They're going to come to your door, and they're going to go after people under 400,000. They're not kidding.
IRS they're concerned because the Federal Reserve isn't even a federal organization. What they're doing is they know it's an illegal operation. It's not even justified by the Constitution. It's like what they're doing is they have these private sector bankers who are taking advantage of a whole world. I just looked at the dollar the other day. Promissory notes. It's not even tender. So what you have is we've been robbed of our right to even have affluence or money.
Right.
We don't even own money. We own fake money. It's monopoly money. It's promissory notes. The Federal Reserve owns the gold, owns the money. So it's like, and they have everybody over the barrel. It was a sham. It was something that was done, I think, for Woodrow Wilson allowed it to happen. And I think on his deathbed, he repented and said, I'm so sorry I did this. I just enslaved every American woman, man, and child.
Yeah. You know, the news conferences they put out, there's totally lies. They come out and they don't answer the question, and then they lie about it, you know, and then 0% inflation, and we're at 8.5 and it hasn't budged. And now the gasoline, they said, oh, well, the gasoline come down about 85 cents. Big deal. You know, Biden raised it by $3, and now he's bragging about lowering it 85 cents. It don't make sense. And also the jobs that are created, those were Trump's jobs. I mentioned that before. Nobody ever talks about that on any of these talk shows, but those were Trump jobs coming back, not Biden's brand new jobs.
Right. The original screenplay actually talks about second council. Second council is for the people. And they took it out of Matrix. Well, actually have council. They have the councilmen and everything. They kept that. They lifted what they thought was cool, the Wachowskis and others. They claim they wrote it and put everything in that they thought was cool. Well, council made it in. But the idea was that second council was representing us, the people, and wasn't working for us, was working for the elite to give the illusion of justice, the illusion of progress, and concerns being heard. The same thing happened in World War II, the ghettos in Warsaw. Right. What they had was you had council people of Jewish nature orientation being on these second councils, and nothing was done. They couldn't do anything, but they would receive the complaints of the people in the ghetto. It's the same. We're basically in the same situation. We're not going to be heard. We're going to be ignored. They'll go through certain processes to make it look like they're working on it, but it won't be helping us. We'll be disarmed and we'll be just set up to fall.
That's what I look at all these congressmen that are on these talk shows. All they do is they do a lot of talk, a lot of hot air. They're trying to let their constituents know they're doing something, but they're not doing anything.
No, it's the act of looking like you're doing it.
Yeah.
Like, it's like me drinking coffee on the job and saying, look what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I am liquidating so I can be a better servant. I'm doing this. I mean, it's all garbage. There's nothing sensible or making sense. It's a lot of verbiage. What's interesting is a lot of times they try to think like they're using big words and things like this, where they don't realize a lot of the segment of the population understands exactly what they're saying. It's nonsense. So, and now what's interesting is the Biden group is trying to push that they're doing electric cars and doing these impact plans to encourage green and everything. Well, that's also an interesting thing where that can be a fallback thing to look good now, to draw eyes away from the real smoke and the real fire.
Well, you know what it's all about. It's a plan to actually take away fossil fuels. And they also talking about us turning our air conditioners off to save energy. They're going to cut back on fossil fuels. They're going after this Green New Deal, but it's going to take 10 years to get a Green New Deal. And then you have to buy an electric car. Well, you know how much those cost? Those cost about $100,000, $80,000, and the average person can't afford that.
Yeah. At the same time, they want credit for the idea when it's other people that have been doing it. Other people have been doing this and pushing for it for so long. They'll like they took my screenplay. What they'll do is they'll take the credit of other people, inventions, ideas, and they'll do it badly, but they'll get credit for it. Look what we've done for you. Right. It's like taking your bread that you made out of your hand for your family and going, look, we made this bread for you. They're using whatever we have to make themselves look good. When they didn't do the work, they stole the work. They stole the credit. They stole the ideas. And they prohibited those that actually had those ideas from perpetuating a better world. And that's what's really interesting. It's all about them getting credit. And if it's going to happen, then they'll step in and say, oh, look, we did this. We're doing this for you.
Right. Let me ask your opinion on what do you think Trump's next move is, since he's dealing with the deep state and he knows what he's dealing with more than anybody else. What do you think he'll do next?
They gave Trump a wonderful card to play now. I think what's going to happen is they just galvanized them, the whole group. What they're going to see now is the FBI's lost their deal. There has been deals and silent deals under the tables for a long time. And the idea is that you scratch my back, I scratch yours. That's how they operate. Well, they just blew it. They just tore a gash into his back. Now Trump's going to go after them. And what's interesting is he has knowledge about inner workings and things they've done, just like they do about him.
Yes.
So he can now go after them with his group.
They're
and now
afraid of him.
The strongest dinosaur wins.
Right. They're afraid of Trump. That's why they don't want him back in office.
They pissed him off.
His lawyers, they when they went in and raided, now the communist parties, the news media communist, tentacles, whatever, they're saying it wasn't a raid. They said, we don't use that kind of word. It was an inspection, or, is a visit, so they don't like the word raid. But what do they do? What have they been doing to all these other people, that Trump's people? They've been put them in shackles at the airport and everything. Right. And if you're a Republican, you're dead meat. If you're a Democrat, you're safe. Look at Joe Biden and look at Hunter Biden and look at the Clintons. They're getting by with murder, actually.
Oh, they're good. Murder. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. My 2 sons are dead.
Yeah.
And it's connected to the Clinton administration. I was actually groomed by a lady named Joni Stevens at Colonial Williamsburg, which is the Rockefellers group. And it was top tier grooming. And then I find out she's directly connected to Pat Robertson's organization and also to Clinton. She worked specifically directly with Hillary Clinton at the White House, Joni Stevens. And she has been a nightmare on my side ever since. She will pull articles that are ready for me, pull my mail, everything when I was at Colonial Williamsburg with the Rockefeller group, a nightmare. And she is part of Hillary Clinton's direct group.
Right.
So, yeah, so it's incredible that the players they have, when you're being groomed to be in the top, like I was, they have people assigned to you. And it's interesting because you'll see the factions, how they form. When I was dealt a death blow, basically, by Joni Stevens of Hillary Clinton's group, the Rockefellers still had something for me, where a CIA operative came to me and gave me a position at the Cedars, right outside Colonial Williamsburg, where Camp Perry is. I was given to be an assistant manager. So the CIA stepped in and gave me a platform when Clinton's group pulled the rug on me. And so what you see is it's not one cohesive body. It's not just Democrats. You're talking about FBI connected to CIA, connected to religious right, connected to Hollywood, connected to mafia, Jewish and Italian and Mexican. And you've got, it's like you got everything from unions. Everybody's got a hand in the pie. It's all centered around elite wanting to maintain their affluence, their power, their money, their wealth. They are concentrated on that. And having now this dream of a sustainable planet where we get rid of all these people that are a threat to them. And Game of Thrones words it very clearly. If you're not them, then you're an enemy. You're against them.
Yeah. I've been looking at all this thing, this New World Order, and George Soros. How does he get by with everything he does? And he's doing a lot of illegal political donating here in this country. I mean, he's going overboard on a lot of these DAs. They're Democrat DAs. They're wanting crime. They're wanting this mass shootings across the country. I mean, it's crazy. Police defunding. Police are quitting left and right. They're wanting us to go down. Is what they want. Look
what happened in Texas here. Why? And I was told ahead of time what's going on here. It's like the FBI orchestrates, and they'll want me on this one too. I know, I don't care really. The thing is that Texas was picked on purpose, and Matthew McConaughey's hometown was picked on purpose.
Yes. Yeah.
So they can propel him forward on the political scene.
Right.
He was ready with tie and grapes and flowers and roses ready away.
Right.
As soon as he was set to go, as soon as that shooting's on, he's in.
Yeah.
And so that was done in Texas because my son goes to school in Texas now. Then they did a shooting in Philadelphia following that. That's where I'm born, where I just came from. So they're doing this on purpose as a message also. And believe it or not, Dave, their big concern is authors, particularly this one. Yeah. And so it's like the screenplay I have, we will win our case on fraud. They know that. That's why they race Matrix 4 forward. But that's also why they're sending these messages out. Like they want to desperately hold on to their power and maintain their invisibility at the same time, but it's not working. The interviews are going on. I had a guy who's connected to Sony, top consultant, top Fortune 100 consultant for Sony, contacted me and he said, stop doing interviews, Tom. If you don't stop doing interviews, you and your son will be dead.
That's what you were telling me here.
Yeah, that's what I said. So that shows you what's going on. Look at what they're most concerned of and who they're concerned of. Now, you won't see that on the media because they don't want to draw attention to it.
Right.
Trump knows my family situation. He knows it. He knows I'm the writer. He was going to make a move, but he got scared of going any further. I've said that. And then what happens is the word was he was looking to see if we succeeded, then you betcha. If we won a 1.2 billion lawsuit for rights that wrote the Matrix, do you think he'd not be having dinner with us?
Right. Yeah.
Of course.
True.
Especially since we've been supporters of him.
I'm an author, but I'm not at the level that you're at. I haven't been, I'm not a key person, or I've never been dealt with by handlers that I know of. I know I've been dealt with by ETs and abductions and things of that nature, in which they play a part in this cabal and the deep state also, that we've got, humanoid ETs in high places in Washington, D.C., and also around other government facilities. And they're operating from within. And that's part of it. Yeah, that part of it. A lot of people won't believe that part. They're having a hard time believing deep state and cabal, but they're not going to believe ETs. But that's true. It's all mixed in.
That's right. But you're a published author. You're successful. You're affluent. You are smart, brilliant, articulate, and you have the courage to put me on too. It's like, so you matter. You are on there as somebody of note. And so it's like, yeah. So no, they notice you. They know. That's why you would be shadow banned. It's like, yeah.
Some of the numbers are kind of ridiculous when you get, like you said, you were told by 500 people they saw the show, and you only had about 10 views. Yeah,
like 10 views.
So
it's insane. It's insane. My one platform that's shadow banned on Facebook, the one Matrix site, it will show one view. My other platform, the authors page, will show like 500 or so. So it's totally backwards. And now people are saying you're being shadow banned on this that are watching that site. That would be one of those many views. Right. So it's like, it's obvious. And then the phone taps are getting ridiculous now, where my phone, I'll answer my phone and it'll have a male's voice on it talking. And I'll talk to the party saying, there's a woman saying, is there somebody with you right now? No, there's nobody here. And you'll hear these guys talk. They're just talking now. It's like their budget must have gone down. And, one of the things I want to talk about too, just tangent too, is the way to dismantle the FBI is to cut their funding. Cut their funding. Yeah. And that's what Trump knows now too. So Trump has been listening, following all along our situation. He's heard me say, dismantle the FBI. Now he's saying, dismantle the FBI. He knows what to do. Same with Pat Robertson and the religious right. Take away their tax exemption. Take away their funding. Make it so they can't even afford shoes. And they won't be walking around in suits anymore, shooting people that are citizens.
There should be treason dealt with General Milley, Pelosi, and even Schumer and these other people who are telling lies, and they're hurting the country. And actually a coup, they talked about coup openly. Pelosi approached Milley. I talked about this earlier, but he approached Milley. And this is a story that he's got in his book, that he said he stuck around for 3 or 4 months. He stuck it out with Trump, but he said he wanted to get rid of him, is what he said. But he stuck it out. He didn't quit. So because he wanted to, he had another couple more years to serve so he can get his pension. But he was talking about they were afraid of Trump. Look what we got now, a brain dead president that we're facing wars from Russia and China right now.
The best thing they could have done, which I apologize to Trump for saying this, but the best thing they could have done is raided his home, because now they've just shown how insane the FBI is, how insane, how cowardly, it's just, they need to be removed.
Right.
They need to be dismantled peacefully.
Right.
No weapons.
You can't get rid of all. Yeah, you can't get rid of all DOJ. But
we don't want to become like them. We don't want to become like them. They're the ones who do horrendous crimes against humanity. We don't want to be engaged in that. We want to keep ourselves clean and right through this all. So we don't act like they do.
Did you hear about the judge that actually wrote the order for the
I'm sure it was one of their buddies.
Oh, he's a big time loser.
Yeah, of course.
He was actually with that one child sex guy,
of course, Epstein,
and he's also he's a failure. And
of course they are.
Yeah, and so they stuck some money in his back pocket. They said, "Well, you got a title. We're going to push you out front. This is what you need to do." Yeah.
Well, with Gary Klausner is appointed by Bush and Bush's dream team, which Newsweek calls Pat Robertson's organization, Law and Justice Center, the Dream Team.
Right.
And so they're the ones that the first thing they did was appoint Gary Klausner to California. And Robertson is saying on his page, it's so he's no longer a second-class citizen. So judges, conservative judges will make conservative decisions to counterbalance liberal ones. What he's saying is, regardless of evidence, he wants decisions that he wants done by those he appoints. And so the first thing Gary Klausner has done basically is throw our case. And then you see CNN and all these others saying, oh, he lost his case. No, we never had our case yet. It was all fraud. And that means there's no statute of limitations. So we are going to come back after documentary and after interviews. We will be back after the Court of Public Opinion knows it. Right. And we're worth 1.2 billion and plus. Plus even Elon Musk's tech is our tech in the screenplay.
Right. We talk about this voting thing. My wife was asking me, I said, in the primaries, you got to declare your party. And I said, that's how they track you. That's how they know. I did some campaign work and I had these big sheets and we know every name, every phone number and who you're affiliated with. So they know the information on you. They know if you're Republican or Democrat. Right now, it's not safe to be a Republican. And a lot of people are afraid to go to the polls and go to the primaries. They don't vote in primaries because they don't want to let people know their affiliation. And because it's scary. Right now, you got the communist Democrats in charge and the deep state in which you've been talking about. And to me, I'm afraid to even wear a red Trump cap. And I'm a Vietnam veteran, and I served my country and I'm afraid to walk around on the streets anymore. It's a shame.
Well, the sign of an unhealthy political system is a two-party binary system. It shows you there's something wrong. If there's not multiple parties, then something's wrong with the health of that political atmosphere, and that system. If it doesn't have multiple parties, that means somebody's rigged the show. Right. If there's only two systems, you're asking for a divided public. What if everybody was voted a registered Democrat? What are you going to do? What's going on then? It's like, basically, we are ancient Rome. The electoral college decides everything. We are what was the senator body was the old men. What you have is the old men run everything. And it's like, you don't have a democracy. We're not a democracy. We're a republic.
Right.
We're a republic. We're not a democracy. Why do they keep saying bring democracy to other countries? We don't. We're a republic. We're a Roman Empire. We are basically the senators run it. And it is the uncles and aunts that are the electoral college. They decide ahead of time.
It's the other countries that are waiting for us to make a move to get over this cabal thing, the world order. They're wanting us to make the move.
The Democratic and Republican Party position, this idea of political situation like this, allows the cabal to be well-fed and nursed. It's like an incubator for it. You've got to get rid of this political system, which has this just two-party system. It's a joke. There's no way another party can rise.
And
they're really giving people no choices.
They're mentioning the MIC, military industrial complex. Trump mentioned that the other day, and I've heard other people talk about the military industrial complex. They're deeply involved, and they think Milley and the chiefs of staff are all hand in hand with this.
Well, that's why they create the atmosphere of fear. The atmosphere of fear, the whole thing that Robertson had spelled it out when I was being groomed to be the face of the Christian Coalition. That was be the top position. Then it was supposed to groom me to run for president. When I was at Robertson's organization, while the FBI is taking me to dinner and give me that card that says, please extend every courtesy to Tom Althouse, I was deeply bred within the organizations of the cabal. Without even realizing it. But the thing is, they have a plan. They have a plan where the more fear they create, the more you take away rights. We've seen this over with Bush's organization too, which incidentally, Bush met with Pat Robertson behind closed doors before he launched this thing.
Oh, I'm sure the Bush family is a little dirty too. I mean, just like
very dirty.
Just like the Cheney family. Yeah.
Please, yes. And so what they do is create the atmosphere of fear in order to encourage this industrial military thing where we feel safe. We're supposed to say, oh, save us, protect us. It's like having this real big, scary guy come into your home, and he looks threatening, he looks dangerous, he's armed to the teeth. Why is he there? But then someone stirs up the conversation of, he's there to protect us. Look what's happening. There's somebody outside. Oh my God, we need him. Oh my God, there's somebody upstairs. Oh my God, where's the baby? Oh, we need this guy. We need this guy. Yes, let's have this scary man in our home to protect us. The scary man.
Let's talk about the rhinos. Let's take a look at Liz Cheney. Her daddy is telling her what to do because he's an insider. He's a deep stater. Vice President Cheney had his hands into everything.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, and he ran the White House really because
he did, and the Pentagon.
Yeah.
They always say, look over here. They don't want us to look at what's going on. You look at the Pentagon. The Pentagon is corrupt through and through.
Yeah.
They are the arm of the cabal now, and the cabal, they've made deals, but there's certain rules of the deal. And a lot of people need to realize that a lot of this deal stuff is look the other way, but make it look like it's all been dealt with. No, really nothing's been dealt with. It's all been, we'll look the other way. If you look the other way, I'll look the other way. But when you raid Trump's home, take it back home here. Let's take it literally back home.
My new book.
Home, you're not going to look the other way anymore.
Yeah, my new book that's coming out this week, maybe early part of next week, Senseless Wars and Conflicts. It has the MIC and it has CIA in there and the money that they're looking for. It takes, these people make money off of wars and we die. Our blood is sacrificed. They get the treasure, and we give the blood. The poor people, you know. I can tell you a story that's in my book about my brother and I. We were too poor to go to college at the time because we had 11 kids in the family. Dad was blue collar, and the school actually turned us in to the election board, county election board, and said, take these two because they're not going to college. They're cannon fodder. Just take them. So yeah, so they almost didn't even let my other brother finish school. I finished school and was off for about a year, but they almost didn't let him finish school, and they took us in. Well, guess what? I went in and I did a good job in the military. I got a commission offer and everything else. Come out, and I guess I'm living and I'm doing all right so far.
Well, that's the thing too. You just hit something very important. They go after finances. The cabal's main card is go after finances. FBI too. What is Fitzpatrick doing with my sister? Try to make us homeless, lock us away, take away jobs, contact clinicians if you got one. It's like they're going to disrupt your entire world to make you destitute and then call you a loser.
And they have you under their control.
That's right. So
Tom, we just have a few seconds left, about 30 seconds. You want to tell people how they can find out more about you on the internet, or you got something up on the web?
Sure, real quick. Red Pill Rising is still the site right now. We're going to change that, but redpillrising.org, if you can get to it, there's all kinds of alerts try to stir people away. Mm-hmm. But there's some main content there. Some of the graphics from the original pieces and stuff like that is there that's worth looking at, I believe. Also, there's a PayPal there if you want to support this thing for the documentary, which we're giving people their names in it to thank them for donating to the documentary. It'll be loved ones, whatever, in the credits of that.
This hour went by so fast that we're running the time. You're listening to Dave Emmons Show, and it's syndicated through WDY Radio, Odyssey Radio out of Maryland, and also Tom Althouse was my guest, and in the future you're going to see more of him as probably a co-host, and we're going to be working together on a lot of this stuff that we need to let you know about. And Tom, thank you so much for being on the show.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Let's keep it going.
Thank you. Very interesting.